evening, everyone, and welcome back to the third episode of the Founders Podcast. And this time, I'm actually kind of happy because I don't have to do this alone anymore. And I have with me Mr. Beaver. Hello, Mr. Beaver. How are you doing today?
Anymore. You act like I was gone for like ever.
You were gone for a whole week, man. I've missed you.
Blame the booster.
I will not do such a thing because I will not get political here. What?
Well, no, the booster just made me really tired.
Oh, no, I know.
Extremely tired.
I have been there. I have totally been there. But welcome back, folks. It has been a week. And actually, what a week it has been in the Lost Ark world. Because, man, things have been happening. We had our first bigger patch, so to speak. I would say it was the first part of a bigger patch to come. And we will talk about that just in a bit. And welcome to all the folks who are joining us live. Welcome in. I hope you have a fantastic day, everyone. And so, how has been your week in Lost Ark? What have you done?
So a lot has happened for me since last we spoke. So about 2 weeks. I was maining my sorceress. I just got her into T2.
Me
recently,
too.
And then I was like, you know what? F it. I ended up switching over to my berserker, and now my berserker's my main, and my berserker's just now hitting over 1,000 for eye level, and I've been working on islands today. A lot of islands. I'm about to break 30 island souls / tokens because they renamed them. I don't know if you saw that. They kind of got a silent rename before the patch.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I got confused at first. If you look at the island tokens, most of them are now renamed souls.
I think that is more in line with what they have been called in the other regions, because
Gotcha.
basically they have been called that in the other regions, and it was just weird to have them changed again. I'm hoping still that Amazon is doing this with a lot of like English names, just convert them back to the original names and not do something weird on your own. But yeah, continue. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Today's just been a lot of island hopping and cleaning up, honestly.
All right. Oh, that's neat. By the way, for everyone who is watching it, what you also see is my journey to Yawn we have been doing yesterday. I finally reached Tier 2 because, man, I haven't played the game basically in a week because of Elden Ring. Oh, there was so much Elden Ring in my life. I just couldn't really. Having two games which definitely fight for your attention, it's just not doable. I can't. So I have been finally being back at Lost Ark. I've finally reached Tier 2. I already have some YouTube video planned for all the people who are watching normally my guides. There will be a few one for the Tier 2. Because one of the things which is new when you are reaching Tier 2 is like the faceting of your jewels, because you're now getting jewels.
Yep.
Right? And you have to facet them, and it's like, oh, okay, there's another whole system. I will probably not pay too much attention to, because you will switch out your Tier 2 equipment to Tier 3 relatively quickly. How long did it take you to go from... You were still Tier 2, right?
Yes. Yeah.
How far are you away from Tier 3?
I'm on the 12 upgrade right now, and I got to get to the 15, and I'm starting to get to that burn again. It feels very similar to what it was going basically from the 500 to 600.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm at that point. So like I'm running out of lodestones, or I'm running out of this, and I'm just like, oh, I could definitely tell you, like, the gem aspect, it's nice to have them because they definitely give you a good boost. One thing I've been doing is just auto enhancing them, or whatever it is. auto fusing them, so the level 1s automatically turn to level 2s, and so on
Mm-hmm.
and so forth.
Exactly, yeah, that is also an aspect which I think I haven't even unlocked yet. I think I haven't
You should
unlocked.
probably at the end of the story of Yorn, I think.
Yeah. So I've definitely finished the main story at Yorn, but I've just missed it. Like I have to look it up again because, as we all know, yeah.
If you go to your sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but if you go to your inventory, you should have the fused gems right in your inventory.
I think I saw them. Yeah. I think 25 of them or something. I saw them. But yeah, it's like one of those things where Lost Ark is doing the worst. Again, not to tell you about it. It's like you're finding gems in the Chaos Dungeon, and it's like, oh, gems. Huh. What am I? What am I doing with that? What? Oh, I can right click them. Where did they go? What is going on? It's like, folks.
It's another big mechanic added to it on top of the cards.
And
on top
they,
of the enchants.
yeah, and they don't explain it. It's like, oh, come on, this is not Elden Ring. Like, you can actually take me by the hand and explain the system to me, please. And, well, I mean, it's good for me. I can just make another guide about it. And it's like, yes, awesome. More content for my YouTube. But it's also like kind of, meh. Like, you have been playing this now a little bit more than I did, or at least here in the Western version. I still have a head start thanks to the other regions. But did you feel like the game is explaining stuff enough to you?
It did. I feel like our basically our level 1 to 50, right, was a giant tutorial, basically going all the way through Vern and stuff. After that, though, I felt like there was a lot of things that I may have either rushed through, because you're talking about the whole gem thing. There is actually it doesn't yell it out at you, but it's one of the welcome challenges is to do the gem tutorial, and you actually get level 3 gems from doing the welcome challenge.
See, I have not seen that welcome challenge actually.
Exactly. Sometimes you don't know that that's one of those things, and you have to when you hit like a special, like some of those welcome challenges, you don't see them until you hit like plus 12 for that current tier or something like that, and that's when they open up, and then you may have already unlocked it, and then you can just auto complete it at that point, but you don't know it's there until you do hit that certain eye level.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how they do it. Yeah, but in general, I feel like the game, like as I said, from 1 to 50, it tries to be this giant tutorial on how to fight, how to do quests, how to run from A to B, showing you a little bit of sailing, right? Like it definitely takes you by the hand at the beginning, and then when you are reaching level 50 and you get those massive amount of new content being thrown at you, the game goes like, okay, you see this one letter sentence up there when you click on it? That's your tutorial for 50. Good luck. So, okay. Yeah. Cool. It's a bit weird, I would say.
I will give them a little bit of credit, like post-launch, so to speak, because yeah, once you get past that certain point, you're like, okay, what do I gotta do next? What am I supposed to do? And one thing they've actually done is they replaced the loading screens.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
And it's like sometimes you want them to load slower because those are actually really good tips.
Right? Like, why is this not in the codex? Like, we have a codex in the game and you have those amazing pictures actually explaining really well what you were doing, but you only see them in the loading screens, which take maybe 5 seconds. And it's like,
Yeah.
It's disappointing sometimes. It's like, I think they were showing to me the gem fusion, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen this yet, and it's gone. Okay, well, maybe next time. Oh.
Yep, and that's what I was actually referring to, in terms of what you're able to do. Like you should be able to do it. It's just the game hasn't unlocked the path, so to speak, to be like, hey, you should try this.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's kind of weird. Somebody in chat just said like, "Hey, it's time to get out the old HDD for long loading screens."
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
no thanks. I don't. Oh,
Wasn't there a game recently where they actually did force longer load times just so people could read the tooltips?
Oh God, yeah. I think there was some in the time, or you had to like, you had to click it away or something. I don't
Oh
know
no, it was
exactly.
for Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh,
Gorilla
was it?
actually had to, for certain loading points, they had to force the load times a little bit longer just so the tips would stay on the screen
Oh
so
my
they
God,
could be
that's
read.
amazing. That's amazing. That's the problem when technology basically outpaces like certain ideas, right? And it's
Yep.
like, oh, M2s, man, they're now so fast. Even though I have to say, some of the loading screens are still relatively long for my M2, where I would have expected it to be a little bit faster. But then again, it's Unreal Engine 3, so who knows? But yeah, no, like I'm now tier 2. I'm trying to get my bearings there. It's pretty much the same, really. Oh, I embarrassed myself yesterday hard. So I was doing the tier 1 Guardians because I haven't fully finished all of them before I did go
Mhm.
to tier 2. And I did the last one of the tier 1s. What's his name?
Isn't that the one that does the whirlwinds on the ground?
Yeah. And so
The
I didn't.
lion
Yeah, the lion thingy,
things. Yeah. I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Escalion, something like that.
Mhm.
And well, I haven't seen this. And the first dude was asking in the group, "Hey, you all know the mechanics?" And I was like, "No." And like he didn't explain the mechanic. He was just going, and I was waiting for the dude explaining the mechanic. And then we, of course, we screwed it up because we didn't know the mechanics. And he was like, "You see, we are all now dead." I was like, "Dude, you 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 could have in the last 10 minutes explained to me what the hell is going on." Then I figured it out for myself because thankfully I'm really smart in boss mechanics. Like, it's like, oh, come on, don't blow into your own horn here. But I'm normally really, really good and
Yeah.
seeing like boss fight mechanics. And I was like, oh, so you have to go into the tornadoes before he does the super AoE because you become invincible. And he was like, yeah, that's how it goes. I was like, dude, you couldn't have told me that. Like, that would have been one sentence. You could have written out like, when he does big AoE preparation, go into the tornadoes, not before. And I would be like, okay. Like, we still would have probably died there, but at least I would have seen it, I would have understood it. And it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, really? He was one
Yeah.
of those people who was flaming your group, how shitty everyone is, instead of explaining something.
Surprisingly, and we talked about this a little bit before, I have yet to really run into a toxic group. We've had like maybe like one person be like kind of stupid. We never had to really just like give up on something or and not even that get just like even someone just get like annoyed. I guess I don't know because some people are definitely like, oh yeah, you're figuring it out. I guess that's the big thing, right? Because like if you're progressing when you're dying, that's a different story than just wiping at the exact same point every time and not learning what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, making progress, totally. I think the problem with this dude, and this is probably true for me specifically, he was not a native English speaker. He was totally not a native English speaker. Like, the sentences he formed were odd, like a non-native English speaker, right? And he probably just got frustrated that he understood it, but he didn't really know how to explain it to the group, and he was probably frustrated himself. And I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. That's the problem when you are living in Europe, right?
Yeah.
You are playing in Europe, you have like just tons of people who don't speak English, and they're all together on one server. And I was like, yeah, well, cool. It's its own problem. But yeah, so unfortunately, I didn't manage to finish that Guardian raid. I have to do it in the next few days if I want to try the tier 2 Guardian raids, which I definitely want to do. But yeah, that was my week.
I
What I wanted to say, so
a good
I don't know
majority of
exactly
them
when we are
before the
starting
nerf,
to do
just
this,
get the full sense
but
of them, and then get.
we
And then I
will.
got a good sense of them after the nerf.
We will start to do some more PvP.
And sorry
again
for the
soon,
people where
because
was
at some
just-
point. Wait a second. There we go. Sorry for the people who maybe heard me doubled right now and were like, "Wait, where's the other sound coming from?" Misclicked for maybe 5 seconds, and you had the video sound which is running in the background. I'm sorry if you were like, "Wait, why did I hear mole double?" My mistake. I misclicked. I'm sorry. But yeah, that was basically the week for us, I would say, if you don't have anything crazy to add.
No.
And I would say we are jumping into the news because, man, things happened this week. I think we are starting with the first one, which is now implemented. We had a little patch on Thursday, and Tier 1 and Tier 2, at least the Guardian raids and the Abyssal dungeons, got nerfed. Yes, they got quite a bit of nerfs here and there, some of them. And before I go too deep into it, what's your thoughts on the nerfs? Curious. Like,
So, at first I was like, okay, I don't agree with them, and I kind of was still on the fence with them for a while until I honestly went and felt the nerfs myself. I agree that I understand where they're coming from about getting us to the tier 3, you know, sooner, quicker, or whatever, or getting us into that content, because, you know, the other regions have had that you know, tier 1, tier 2 for years because they didn't have the other ones, right? So they moved on slowly. So whatever. For me though, like it does help with the matchmaking aspect, but at the same time, it's not. People feel like it's going to, in a sense, dumb down things, which I think is where their problem, where they're going to realize that's not the case, because no matter, even though they nerfed things, the mechanics are still the mechanics regardless, and if people do not follow them, you're still going to wipe.
yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
The whole things that they've done just have made the fights, like, for example, like one of the biggest examples, it's an easy fight when done properly, but like the Flame Fox raid, I can't remember her name. It's like a 9
Yahoo, something like that.
Super easy, as long as you know the mechanic of getting the fire buff, right? And then you're doing so much damage to her, because that's the whole thing. She has so much health, you have to get that buff. Well, their big nerf they did is they just nerfed her health pool a little bit more, so you're not having to constantly be in that buff. Because people were having a problem being in that buff and dying because they weren't understanding about the fire and everything else around it. Like, there is a part to it that you have to start balancing, right? And personally, as long as we don't see like ridiculous, like crazy nerfs, like to where T3 content is just a breeze. I mean, eventually that will happen. That's how all MMOs are. They eventually will make that content easier. Like, perfect example, Destiny. They're doing their challenge mode for the raid right now, which is everyone's at 1350. Doesn't matter what your gear score is. And then after the week, it's over. Or after the weekend or whatever, it's over. And then it's no longer the hard version of the raid, right? So
Exactly.
It's going to be there, but as long as there's content that is still a challenge, that's what I look for. You know what I mean?
And tier 3 is definitely there.
Yeah, and I don't want to be rolling my face on a keyboard.
I think people are a little bit afraid. So from what I have heard, which is a bit of like gatekeeping 2.0, it's this, oh no, like if people are already failing at tier 1 and tier 2 content and they need a nerf to manage it, how are they supposed to manage the tier 3 content? That was the point. I'm like, Look, I don't really think that the nerfs we got were making it too much easier. There are still like enough mechanics which will, as you already said, right, just murder you. They will murder you if you don't get it. And just making it a little bit faster. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say it wasn't easier. Like, although most of the raid killing mechanics are still there, they have apparently nerfed, what was his name? Yeah, Titalos? Yeah, Titalos. Was it Titalos?
I know, like, the one that you went against, he doesn't, his mechanic, if you don't get in the immune, won't always kill you depending on where your vitality is. Before,
yeah, Titalos.
It was killing you instantly. It was
the thing is,
killing you.
It's still killing people. I have survived because I had my shields and whatnot, but because I'm a gun lancer, like I can just buff myself as crazy. But all the squishies, all the DPS, they still died from it. They instantly just died from it. So if there was a nerf for the DPS classes, I didn't saw it in my group. I totally didn't see it. But again, it's like there are still mechanics which will kill you. And like I really believe that they just want to get the people out of tier 1 and tier 2 quickly as possible. Because we are in this weird position here in the West that tier 1 was like a thing which existed in South Korea for a year, over a year, about, I think 1.5 years even. Then tier 2 came about, that existed for another year before they even got tier 3. So now we're in this position where we have tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, and I guarantee you tier 4 is coming.
Yeah, we were even, speaking of that, I was even watching a video of one of the Korean players, and he was like explaining, like, I don't know why people are crying about this. You want to get out of tier 1 and tier 2 because the game didn't get good until we got tier 3. That's when we felt like Lost Ark became a game. He's like, you talk about Final Fantasy having its swan song. That was Lost Ark's.
Yeah. It really is that way. Well, actually, with season 2, they actually started a little bit to go into the right direction. But yeah, you were absolutely right. And like again, let's say you were reaching tier 3. Like people will still fail there because they have never seen it before. And if they really don't managing tier 3, then it doesn't really matter if tier 1 or tier 2 hold them back. Especially because you can still cheese tier 1 and tier 2, right? Like you just need tier 3 equipment, which, let's be honest here, it's at some point is easily to achieve. Like it's not something which you are barred from it. But even if you're just getting tier 3 blue content at items at some point, you can just go back and kill all those guardians relatively quickly. Right? It will not stop you.
Your blue gear, like going from T1 to tier 2 was almost double the stats.
Yeah, exactly. And the same will happen again when you are jumping from tier 2 to tier 3. And so, like, telling the people, no, they have to learn it the hard way. If they want to cheese it, they can still cheese it. And then they will still be stuck in tier 3. Like, I don't think that it really matters in the end. If it is now easier to do. I think the biggest problem, though, and please stop me here if I'm wrong, is how to explain it? Like how boss fights basically like play out. Like I think a lot of the guardians,
explaining the mechanics.
Yeah, the choreography of those like boss fights. Like it just sometimes you don't know what he is doing. Like you look at some of those guardians and you're like, what is this supposed to be now? Should I run away? Should I do a lot of damage? Like, what is this what I'm seeing here right now? Like, Titalus is a wonderful example when he is preparing like the scent attack, like the super AoE. Doesn't really look like much and doesn't look too imposing, in my opinion. Like, when I first saw this, I was like, okay, he is preparing something. What am I supposed to do now? Like, I think the game is doing a relatively bad job, at least in the Tier 1 and Tier 2 Guardians, to explain to you what to expect.
I will definitely, I can agree with that. I had the exact same, I did that boss before the nerf, and I had the exact same impression. I was like, well, I see these things on the ground. I don't want to stand in them, which was the cyclones.
Yes.
And then, you know, he does that, and it's like, you don't really, it didn't really click at first. And then, of course, when it did, it was like, oh my God. Like, you're like, wow.
Yeah, there's nothing really like giving you the idea that you have to stand in the cyclones to be protected. Like, I think this is something Final Fantasy XIV does really, really well, because it has a similar fighting system where it is more retroactive than it is like in, let's say, World of Warcraft, where everything is going after like basically a list of attacks or something where you just know when things are happening. Like, Lost Ark is very active, like Final Fantasy XIV. And Final Fantasy XIV is really good to make you understand what is it you expect. Like, what is it you expect from the next attack? Like, there is this, if you have never played Final Fantasy XIV, for our viewers and people who are listening to this, like, there is this circle with arrows pointing at the player, and it's like arrows you cannot miss, and you are just having those 4 arrows pointing for a few seconds to the player, and you were like, oh shit, maybe I should go to the player.
Yeah, like stack up. Like, this is, hey, definitely stack up here, or it gives you like an idea to spread out. Like, it kind of, yeah, I see exactly where you're coming from on that.
Yep. And I think Lost Ark is doing a pretty bad job in explaining that. Like, it's a learning experience at this point.
I see the Guardian raids more of like a Monster Hunter monster fight. Like, you literally have to sit back and watch that raid and see what's going on with it, right? So I know it's definitely not the same for sure in terms of that. Like,
sure.
I feel like the Abyssals give a little bit more of that feel than the raids do by far.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, but again, it's like, even the Monster Hunter, like, as somebody who has played Monster Hunter, you still get a feeling about, oh damn, oh, that is not good. Oh, whatever that monster is doing right now or is trying right now, I want to do something. And again, with I know I'm like laser focused on Titalus right now, but this is the recent Guardian I've been playing yesterday, so it is pretty much etched into my memory. Like, his explosion attack just didn't look like I want to stand in the whirlwinds, right? Like, it was more like oh, maybe I should run away? Should I run away? Yeah. But I think we could talk about this for a while. The reality is they did nerf Tier 2 and Tier 1. And so far, it's alright.
I wouldn't say I have any complaints on it. Again, I tried right beforehand to get I got some of the Abyssals done, did it again after the nerf, same with the raids. I could feel the nerf, but at the same time, there was one of the fights, I can't remember which one exactly it was. We're like, did they actually nerf this? Because this does not feel like a nerf. Like, for some reason, we just were getting our asses kicked still. Like,
yeah,
I feel like sometimes the nerf just is more on paper than it is when you actually feel it.
I mean, they explained it in the patch notes themselves. It's not really a nerf for like the nerf as we expected, like having a 25% easier chance to kill the boss. But as I said, they wanted to just nerf some of the annoying systems, which just feel like they don't have to be there because it's just freaking annoying. And let's be real here, nobody wants to do a boss fight where when one person is screwing this up after 80 minutes, the whole raid just dies, or the whole group. Like, I always find that personally a little bit questionable. It's like, if I'm screwing up and I die, okay, well, it was my mistake. I got punished for that. But when the whole group immediately dies, it's a bit like, oof, okay, wow, that was... Oof.
Yeah, that's like the abyssal that I did last night. It was an 8-man abyssal. Had to go in circles. Everyone had to work together. If one person missed, the whole crew wiped. Doesn't matter how hard they nerf that. The whole crew wipes. One person misses.
Yeah, so like, I always find that it's a bit of a, again, personal opinion here. I know that some people love it. Like, it's a bit of a lazy concept in my eyes, where you were like, okay, one person really just did one misstep and the whole group has to be punished for it. I never liked the system. Lost Ark is doing it a lot. I live with it. I use it, right? It's not like I'm like, oh, I want to play this game. No. I can arrange myself with that system. It's just like, personally, I've never been a big fan of that system in general being used that often. But yeah, so they got nerfed, and this is all in preparation for Argos. And please correct me here. I had this discussion yesterday with my community, but Argos is not in the game yet, right? Or is he? He's.
I don't think so.
Like, normally there should also be a new area in the game. Like, I know that in Castle Verne, I think the top area is, which then opens up, and there's where you find the 8-man void dungeons / I don't even know what they would call them. And I don't think it's in yet. I'm pretty sure it's not in yet because it's also not in the patch notes. I'm pretty sure they would have put that into the patch notes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we'd probably have to be tier 3 to probably even see it, to be honest.
No, the area is visible.
Oh, okay.
I know that the area would be visible. Like, you can go into the game and normally you would have like a new thing you can just jump in, right? Like the Abyssal dungeons or Chaos dungeons or something like that. It is its own thing. You hit a queue for. And so that is coming, and man, Argos will be the first real deal. Argos is an 8-man Abyss dungeon, right? It's an 8-man Guardian raid, so to speak. I still don't know exactly what they will call it here in the West. And it will have you ever looked into like the tier 3 raids, or an Argos, or anything which is coming afterwards, or is that
Not
completely?
yet. I've been basically taking it in as it happens. So like, I just like the other night we did our first 8-mans and in the Abyss dungeons, and that's when I was like, okay, let's start to understand these. I haven't really looked into the fights beforehand.
Yeah. So Argos is like super interesting. What they are doing is in South Korea they call them gates. I'm not sure what they would call them here, but it's basically like the same boss fight over multiple phases, and after every phase you are getting loot, you are getting stuff, right? And so we have like Gate 1, Argos, Gate 2, Argos, Gate 3, Argos, and Gate 4. I don't know how many gates Argos has. I don't remember anymore. And every time he's learning new tricks, or the surroundings change, or you have to look out for completely different mechanics, which can murder you very quickly. And Argos is really like the first step into Tier 3 endgame. Like after Argos, which you have to do quite a bit to get your equipment together, you are going into the Legion Commanders, which is like right now the highest endgame we have in South Korea. And man, so from what I have seen and heard from people, like even Gate 1 Argus is just killer. So we will see how many people will really do and finish the Argus content. Like, do you plan to do Argus? Like right away?
I plan to do it all. I don't think I'll be even able to do it right away.
Yeah, like I think Argus is really like the first big test, so to speak, where the game really punishes you hard, and you have to know what skills you use, what build you use. You already need to have like a pretty good build up character, where just increasing your item level doesn't do much anymore.
Yep. Like start working on your stats and everything else.
Yeah. Like before that you could always cheese it a little bit by just, oh well, this Guardian raid is pretty tough. Well, I guess I get another 200 item level and then just do it again, I guess. You cannot do that anymore with Grudge. So, did I just say Grudge? Give me just 1 second here. I'm sorry, I cannot answer like right now build discussions. I'm truly sorry for people asking in the chat. That is its whole different thing, and I cannot write and answer that and also fill the podcast. I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Just join me on my socials or on my Discord, and then I will gladly answer that there. Sorry for the interruption, but I just want to put that out there. To go back to Argus, I'm really curious. I want to see what the Western community thinks about Argus. You know, like how they will react to this, and how many people will actually manage to kill Argus. Like, have you played World of Warcraft, like Classic?
Oh yeah, that's when I was into Classic. I really got into raiding near the end of Classic, and then was part of some really hardcore raid teams in Burning Crusade.
Yeah, so Nex Rammers, I think, what was it? Not even 1% or even 3%, I think what it was, have ever seen Nex Rammers in Classic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very curious to see how high the percentage is for Argus. Like, Argus is not Nex Rammers, but I would say from the experience jump, it's like Blackwing Lair for the first time. Mm-hmm. And it's just hitting you with like all the new aspects of the game, and you are like, oh my god, what is this? What is going on here? So I'm really curious how this will go. Speaking of nerfing things, and speaking of things which could be interesting, so there is another thing people have been talking about, which might be on their way, regarding nerfs / buffs. Have you ever seen the, like, how to explain it, the cheesy upgrade system? Like how you can
No.
jump into basically from tier 1 to tier 3 in just days.
No.
Nope. Sounds fantastic. I can actually send you a link very quickly here. Let me do that super quickly so we can use it, see it, and then I will also put it up on the stream. Yeah, there it is. Let me, so that you can see it, and then we'll also put it up on the stream. This right here. Oh, it doesn't put it in a screenshot. Okay. Well, thanks, Discord. Well, you can download it and then open it up. It's weird that it doesn't show the picture. But let me show you this for the people watching right now the stream and the people watching us later on. So this is in the game. It is there. This whole catch-up mechanic is existing in the game as we know it. It is there. How do we know it's there? It's because they leaked this, or not leaked it. Amazon like put it out there themselves and said, "Hey folks, this will be in the game." And then they were like, "Nothing to see here. We were wrong. It's not in the game yet. Come back later." So, as you can see, for everyone, it's like 100% success rate from level 1 to 15 for tier 1 and tier 2. You will always get 2 levels for the honing up till level 11, right? They would decrease the XP required for the honing, and they will also decrease the cost required for tier 1 gear if you get a honing leap. So they will also like take the honing points away for that. I was like, man, if that would come with Argos, that would be crazy. Or at least like the tier 1 and tier 2. Because the problem is, and like the community talked about this and was highly debating this, Argos is like a cutoff point, or is considered to be a cutoff point in the game, where you need insane amount of resources to just get to the next step, right? And because of that, we are still missing classes. Tons of them. So people are still want to play the Lancemaster, the Destroyer, the Scout, whatever. They still want to play the missing classes and they want to make them their mains. Problem is, if those are missing when Argos is coming around, they have to take the classes they are playing right now, and catching up to the point again where they are now with their main characters they are playing this instant will take them weeks, if not months. And it's pretty shitty. So the question was, is this coming with Argos, at least the tier 1 or tier 2 stuff, or is it not? And we don't know. But you're seeing this right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I have actually seen it before.
Would you welcome this, or would you just be like, man, I don't know?
I mean, I don't know. When I saw it before, it would kind of be like, oh, that's kind of a butts because you're doing that. And the only thing I would argue is, okay, then what about our stronghold stuff, right? Because when you hit 802, your stronghold's supposed to help you get things to improve your honing materials needed and your success for honing through your stronghold.
Yes.
So it kind of is like negating that. Granted, again, most people are going to be like, oh, well, it's for your main. Well, okay, I get it. But, there is that double sword. It's like, okay, you're either going to be the person that's already been grinding their ass off, and now all of a sudden, you have already used all those extra mats, and now they're going to be like, oh, here you go. Now you don't need it. You don't even have to worry about that. Well, I already grinded my butt off type thing. at the same time, I've been in MMOs and been dealing with it for so long that for me it just kind of falls off the edge at this point because it's happened everywhere. Everyone's done it, so it's kind of like, kind of like what am I gonna do? Nothing. I still enjoy the game. It's not gonna hinder like the time that I've put into getting everything, so to speak. It's been a pleasure the whole time.
I think this is a problem, like as I said, right? It's this. Well, this has always been the case in MMOs. They are catch-up mechanics. Lots of catch-up mechanics. When if you want to be like the top of the top players, you also put a lot of time into it, and you don't really have those catch-up mechanics. And everyone gets those catch-up mechanics at some point, especially like if they want to have like another shot at maybe be one of the top players, but they just see how much pre-time they have to invest into it, especially later on when we are getting more tiers. And it's just, do you really want to do that? Like, I think it would be good for Lost Ark if this would come at some point. And to make this very clear, like even South Korea has not those type of catch-up mechanics, but they have already nerfed Argos. They have already nerfed some of the Legion commanders and also make it easier to get your resources and you need less resources. Like there are already graphs out there which will show you how like things changed after some nerfs. Like even South Korea, where like a lot of the hardcore people are playing, right, when it comes to hardcore endgame content, even they already received those nerfs. And the last time I checked, Lost Ark is still doing okay. It's not the end of the world. Well, that's at least what some people make it look like. It's like, oh no, when this is coming, oh, people will leave in droves because that would be unfair to the people who had to grind through this. I was like, is this your first MMO?
Nope, because the people that were grinding will be grinding for something else at that point.
Yeah, like, well, it has always been that case. At least for the last decade, at least. Right, they have always been something similar like that. So, yeah. So yeah, Argos is coming. We don't know when. I would say this week, maybe next week. Well, what would you guess?
With the current patch we just had, I would say we are expecting it. I would say probably within about 2-3 weeks we should probably see something. Especially if they're teasing it already and saying, "Hey, this is what we're expecting." Like we know it's coming.
Yeah. It looks pretty much done. And like even they teased it, and then not even 24 hours later they were like, "Hey, Argos is coming." I was like, whoa, okay. Weird tease.
Very, very fast at that, because it was like they did it at night and then later that morning, night on the East Coast side, and then that morning they were like, "Yeah, we teased it. Here it is." It's
oh my god, it was the same thing for Europe, right? They basically teased it at like 4:30 a.m. in Europe. 4:30 a.m. and then I think at 9 a.m. in Europe or something like that, or 12 p.m. or something, and they were like, "Oh yeah, here's Argos." It's like, wow, if you were European, you basically could have completely missed everything on that and just see the announcement. It was such a weird tease.
Yeah, it was definitely
odd.
Interesting.
Oh, a bit odd. Yeah. Also interesting. So this brings us to the last news for today, but also a pretty big one. They have announced that just yesterday, Lost Ark has been banning 1 million bot accounts for Lost Ark. That's big. Very big.
And it's crazy, because the only thing I gotta say to this, like the only bots that I'm seeing myself are the ones like, "Hey, come buy gold, do this, do that." I'm like, I haven't been able to take time to just farm stuff to the point where I'm seeing, I guess you could say, like bot farming and stuff like that with like mats and stuff.
Yeah, like there's some videos out there which are showing some bots, like how they are even sometimes teleport a little bit. So that's apparently a thing, but I don't know if there is a connection. But we talked about this, that Europe had a huge issue with queues, right? Like our queues were just hell. And even this week, I always, like, it wasn't crazy anymore, but we still talked about like 4,000 to 6,000 queues at prime time on my server. So that was still not so great. Better than 10,000 or 15,000, but still not super great. Since they did the ban, my server doesn't have queues anymore. Even over the weekend at prime time, it's like, what's going on here? Queues? Hello? Like, I don't have queues anymore. It's like, what? How did that happen? Like, I wonder if that is related or not.
Possibly. I mean, imagine, like, think about it. Those gold spammers, just the gold spammers alone, are taking up those precious spots.
Yeah.
You guys. You know what I mean? Like, just that.
Amazon said that they apparently, like, those gold spammers don't even survive for 10 minutes. Average, right? Average. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But less than 10 minutes on average. And, like, those immediately, like, create a new Steam account, create a new Lost Ark account with that, and then try to log in immediately after that. Because it's probably an automated system. It happens in an instant, and they just have been clogging up the queue because of that.
Yep.
So if they already found a way, for now at least, to get rid of those, that would be... I hope it stays that way. I really do. But yeah, like, get rid of the bot accounts. I know it's an endless fight. It will never go away fully. Right? It's like, I don't think so. Because if there's money to be made, those companies are very quickly to be there and try to make as much money as possible. But for now, like, that's quite a bit. And it's good. But yeah, have you seen still, like, gold spammers in chat over the weekend? Or did you not even look for it?
I've seen some gold spammers. It doesn't seem like it's been as bad, but there's definitely been some spammers.
Yeah. I mean, it also seems to, like, help to finally get people back into the game. Like, Lost Ark right now is the #1 Steam game. And they had pretty high numbers today. And I think that more people are finally now coming back to the game, because here in Europe, if you had to wait for like 8 hours before you could even play thanks to the queue, you just lost the interest of playing this game.
Yeah.
And now it seems like mostly fixed, which is good, I guess.
They're holding pretty steady. I had someone was like, "Hey guys," when I was streaming, I was like, "How are they looking for the concurrence? Like, how are they doing now that we've been, someone's even like, well, New World didn't do so great."
month.
And it's like, well, I think they're doing way better than New World was.
Way better. I mean, keep in mind, like, people will say, like, yeah, it's a free-to-play game, and they're right with that. But here's the thing, like, it's about keeping the players. And New World had horrible retention for various reasons. And Lost Ark is easily keeping that. Yeah, sure, they have lost around, 400,000 people at concurrent, right? But that just means that people are not going completely crazy every day about the game anymore, and they're just, like, fanning out a little bit more. It's like Today they had 908,000 peak concurrent. That is crazy. And they are right now the #1 game. And I will be honest, I am surprised actually. When Elden Ring came out, I actually believe that when Elden Ring would have come out, that we would lose quite a bit of players from Lost Ark to Elden Ring. We did not. Like, did you expect that? Are you surprised by that? Or
I mean,
what's your thoughts?
I was even trying to try another game out at one point. Like, I mean, Destiny came out with their big content patch for Witch Queen.
Oh yeah, that also happened last week. Yeah.
I even tried. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play this. Let me get it. I played like a couple hours of it. I'm like, all right, back to Lost Ark. Let's go. Like, I couldn't get away. Like, there's the reason that to me this game is going to be successful is it's drawing me back to the game. It makes me want to come back and actually play the game.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy what they are doing there. Like, I have to admit, for streaming purposes, I'm really in depth in Elden Ring. But like when I came back yesterday to do my tier 2 stuff, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh shit, right, Lost Ark is actually a pretty amazing game.
Like, too much to do.
It's nice to it's nice to have. It's definitely nice. Yes. So it's just amazing. Like, of course, we have to see how it is in like 3 months, right?
Yep.
Because things might change, and it really is important, like how much content we are like we will see how that goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And let me answer like a question very quickly here out of the chat, because somebody asked like, hey, I've hit item level 600 and I'm now moving from tier 1 to tier 2. Can I move my item sets from tier 1 to tier 2? Yes and no. No, you can't. You have to start anew. Tier 2 is its own thing, but you can take one item level with you if you're transferring your level 15 tier 1 gear to your tier 2 blue gear you just got. That's what you can do. So don't hone your items immediately when you get them at tier 2. Like, do the item transfer from your tier 1 items to the tier 2 items, that you at least get a free item level. It's not much, but hey, believe me when I say every little bit counts. Like, you will cherish the one free item level. Because, man, I have a question before we wrap this up, now that we are on this topic. Do you like the upgrade system? Like how
Their math is very wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's
Fair.
the only answer.
Fair.
Like, when you're at a 90% chance to hone, and it's like, failed, and then you go to another piece that has a 90% chance, and you fail on that chance. I'm sorry, that's not 90%. Like that's just no.
I mean, it always shows me why I do not play any lottery. It's a very, very good reminder why I do not do that. But yeah, the percentage chances in Lost Ark are just... What am I even looking at here? Like, you are trolling me right now, right? Like, you are absolutely trolling me. But I have to say, like, what I would love to see is that they would give you 100% success chance for honing, always, And before you're getting angry, let me finish the sentence. You always get a 100% honing success chance. But you change the amount of items you need to actually hone a level. So basically, you will always need, on average, the same amount of materials to go up in a level like you did before. But there isn't this feeling anymore of,
no more
man, failed. Like, you have been farming this for 3 days. Like, later on the extreme, it's like you have been farming this for 3 days or even more. Like, tier 3, if you were trying to reach, like, the last few levels on tier 3, it's like you will farm sometimes for weeks and months, and then you hit the button, and the game is like, denied. Like, raise the cost, but make it always work. I think I can live more with that instead of having that sound and the animation playing that you failed, and I slowly get PTSD from it. Like, oh. It's
Oh, I feel like an asshole. I'm sorry.
Well, yes, but
So
tell us why.
Do you know Slime Island?
Yes.
You know how you get the soul at Slime Island?
No.
So on Slime Island, there's 7 different spawn points where this one slime can spawn. Now, it's a harder slime to kill.
Okay.
Right. And it's not just like a couple of hits. It reminded me of like little treasure goblins that run around. Like as you hit it, it starts running around even faster, and it's harder to hit. So I'm running around my berserker. I'm in mayhem, so I'm at 25% health anyway, right? And remember, Slime Island's a PvP island. Someone sees me attacking this, so they come in and start trying to take hits on it. I just do my moves because I'm trying to kill this thing quick. Instantly kill them immediately. The slime dies. I got my soul. I'm out.
That's rude. That's just rude. You should get banned for it. I mean, we talked about this before. Like, I don't understand with the PvP islands why there is the PvE damage, right? Because it's
stupid.
It's so much out of the world. Like, I had literally people coming in and be like, hey, folks, like, if you have to kill me, like, you can do that, but please let me finish my quest here very quickly, and then you can murder me as much as you want, but please let me do this shit very quickly. Like, I really don't want to participate. And I totally get it. Because doing PvP with your PvE stats just doesn't feel good.
No, and I felt bad. It's not like I tried to kill him. I was trying to get the slime dead.
Yeah.
So he could. And here's the other thing too. The way it was working, I didn't know if it was also going to do multi-tags, right? Because of it being a PvP island, I figured whoever gets the kill gets the kill too. So I was like, fuck it, I gotta kill it quick. And unfortunately, he died in the process too.
I really love, like, are you doing, or have you been trying the Astray? Have you trying to do the Astray quest for the ship?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, no.
So quick, small little spoiler. It's not a spoiler because it's a daily you have to do for the Astray. So you have to be on Blackfang's Island, and every like 15, maybe 20 minutes, there is a pirate spawning, and you have to kill them as a daily. Super simple. It's not a PvP island, right? So you don't have to fear about that. The thing is, that dude has no life. Like, seriously, that dude is just dying when you look at him wrong. So I actually find it so amazing to see seeing people just auto-attacking. No skills, nothing, just a quick step. And then they're like, okay, I'm done here. You can do the rest. And they are like trying to help each other so that everyone gets the step of that dude so that they can actually like finish the quest. Ah, that warms my heart.
Yep, that's how I've seen Outlaw Island over here as well a few times.
Hmm.
Is instead of people, because the whole purpose is that island has 3 different chests that spawn, and if you go there, it's a really small island. The idea is PvP. Chests
Yep.
only spawn once every 5 minutes. Have fun, enjoy. Well, it doesn't work like apparently the developers wanted to, because every time I've gone there, no one's PvP'd. Then there's just a little line. Everyone's taking turns opening these fucking boxes.
No, like I have, what is it? It's a similar island. I think it's a little bit south from Shoeshire, the PvP island. I always forget what name it is. However, they are chest spawning, like 3 chests in total when the PvP event and the island is popping up. And I literally had it last time that they were so focusing on murdering each other that I was just going to the chest and I was like, move on, move along, nothing to see here. Move along, I'm just opening this thing. Don't come closer. Bye. Like it takes like a super long time till you open it.
Yeah.
I was just opening it. Like they were so focused on killing each other that they completely have missed me, like just going there and opening the chest. That was amazing. Lost Ark has some hilarious moments for sure.
It's amazing.
It's great. I think now that Lost Ark is out, I feel really like this could be an MMO here in the West, even, which is here to stay for years, with a big community.
Yeah.
If they are not screwing it up royally, and they are listening to the people who mean well, and I really have to point that out, who mean well, because there's also a bunch of entitled brats in the Lost Ark community who is just, don't listen to them. But I think this game could be, like, I can see that people will still play this game for years to come.
Oh, absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that this podcast episode will last for years, because for today at least, we are done. We are wrapping it up here. If Beaver, if you have still something, throw it in here.
Nah, I'm good. Guys, the biggest thing I will tell you, I hear it all the time though, is take your time, enjoy the game. Everyone's like, I want to go fast. Like, how do I get there? Just enjoy your time. Like, I'm getting close to 275 hours in the game, and I'm just at where I'm at in gear score. I know people that are higher than that, and at the same time, I don't care. I'm having fun.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, if you want to go fast and that is the fun you have in the game, go for it. Just go for it. Have fun. But if there's a person who wants to take it slow and they just want to see things which have nothing to do with the raids, like, keep in mind, Lost Ark already has like quite a bit of stuff which has nothing to do with upgrading your gear. Like, nothing. And just have fun with that if that interests you. So there's something for everything and for everyone in the game. So yeah. But folks, thank you so much for watching the 3rd episode of the Founders Ark. We will be back next week on Sunday at 4 p.m. East Coast time, which is 10 p.m. 9 p.m. UK time and 10 p.m. Central European time. And yeah, I thank you very much, Beaver, for being here. Before we leave, please tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me over on the Twitter for Beaver Live, or Trovo, just Beaver. And then, yeah, that's basically where I'm mostly at.
Yes, you can also find this link in the video description. I posted it there. And you will also find my links in the video description. I'm doing a lot of Lost Ark guides here on the channel. I'm also streaming on Trovo, which is trovo.live/ChaosMole. And I'm streaming there from Monday to Friday, starting at 9 a.m. ET. Besides, and this is a small little announcement for my community, besides tomorrow, because tomorrow I will take a day off. I had a lot of hours in here last week with Elden Ring and some other stuff. And also I would had a government holiday or bank holiday, whatever you call it, on Tuesday, because in my country, the World Women Day is actually a holiday where nobody is working and is just staying at home and celebrating and is getting paid for it. Can you believe that? Crazy. But because I want to stream on Tuesday, I will basically take off tomorrow. So you will not find me streaming tomorrow, though. Sorry. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next week. And more importantly, stay safe. Bye-bye.